Hey everybody, welcome back to the Saw Shop. I put up a community post this weekend with a picture of a driveway full of saws and said, hey, I'll be back in a couple days. Well, it's still happening. Friends, I'm doing a major shop revamp. I do this every couple of years. It just seems to be the way it goes. What happens is I fill my shop with more and more stuff to the point I can't walk around in here, and then it's time to purge. And I have made considerable headway. I'm almost done, friends, but I wanted to jump in today. It is windy and cold and just completely nasty outside. And the reason why I'm doing this right now is winter's setting in, and soon I won't be able to do much outside. As you guys know, I live in a cold climate up here in Manitoba, Canada. It gets cold here. Average temperature in the winter is like minus 20 Celsius, minus 25. And then we get our week-long cold spurts where it can go minus 40, minus 45, somewhere down in there. In that kind of weather, not only do you need a shop that's heated, but you need a shop that you can pull your truck into, especially if you're like me and you drive a diesel. The main thing was, friends, is anytime I want to pull my shop into here, I had to move this back. So I created more space, and I think I'm pretty happy with where we're headed. But that's not what I'm doing. Today's video, I want to do a quick little review. And before you say, wait a minute, Tin Man, I thought you don't do that kind of stuff. Friends, I have no affiliation with this company. Vevor, they reached out to me last year. If you're on social media and you're in the whatever market you want to call this, man stuff, shop work, these guys make tools for everything. They reached out to me a year ago and said, hey, would you like to try? I'm pretty sure they offered me one of these heaters. And now you guys know that hang around here, I don't do the pay-to-play thing, meaning I could take a free heater and some money and show it on the channel and go, hey, this thing's the best thing since sliced bread. You guys should buy one. Check in the comments below. I'll put a link, 10% off. Now, friends, I'm okay. A lot of YouTubers do that. I'm all for it. That's just not my style. So in the name of let's try something out, it's getting to be cold. So I ordered two of these heaters. I ordered one for the shop and one for my skid steer. My skid steer has a Deutz oil-cooled engine in it. It has a heater in the cab, but the problem is I don't get enough heat off that. And what ends up happening is you can either have lots of fan or lots of heat. If you turn the fan down, you start to fog up. So I'm going to attempt to either tie into the fuel system or just run it separately. I'm going to put one of these actually in my skid steer. A totally different model. You guys will see that in a video coming up. So I ordered this thing for my shop. It holds 5 liters of diesel. It's wireless, apparently. I don't know what the range is on this thing, but it comes with this little key. And I'll show you guys what comes in the box. We'll see if this thing works. Basically what this is what they call a Webasto. If you're in the trucking industry, my old man was a truck driver and in the trucking industry, so I grew up around this stuff. These are mounted in modern semis to blow heat into the cab, and also often to warm coolant or any of that stuff. But in cold climates, a truck driver, he'll shut his rig off and he'll run one of these, a Webasto, and run that while he's sleeping, which will heat his cab and keep his truck warm so that you can start it. So anyways, friends, this shop is 22 by 22 square. It has a 7-foot ceiling, 2x4 walls. It is insulated. It's drafty in here. I'm going to try and run this thing a bit this winter. Once I trust it, that'll be the main thing. I have to trust it. But I'm going to run this thing this winter and give you guys my honest review. What do I think of it, and would I recommend this to somebody that lives in a cold climate? Now, I'm not thinking this thing's going to heat my shop up to, 100 degrees or 70 degrees Fahrenheit or, 20 degrees Celsius. That's not what I'm thinking. But what I am thinking, if I can run this thing steady this winter, maybe I can keep it at 5 degrees, which is in the 40s. If I can keep the chill off here, I'll spend more time in the shop, and that means I can fire up my Woodsman wood stove, turn this thing off, and once I get heat coming from the wood stove, blast the heat from that. So anyways, friends, let's set this thing up. I'll show you what it comes with. I'm just going to mock it up through a window right now before I decide where I'm going to permanently mount this. I'll show you guys what it comes with. These things are dirt cheap, friends. I think I paid $150 Canadian. They're probably like $100 US to your door. They're all over the place online. And let's just see how well this works. And I'll give you guys an honest review over the next month or two and see what it does. Anyhow, I'll bring you guys in. Let's get this thing set up and let's try her out. I'm not going to bore you guys with the setup details. This thing has a little screen right here. You can run this off of a battery. So if you're an ice fisherman, fisher folk, I think we're supposed to say in Canada now. Fisher folk. Anyways, you guys know what I'm saying. If you ice fish or do anything outside in the winter, I mean, even if you were hunting and you got a hunting camp, hunting season starts here like this week. A couple guys from work I know are going for whitetail. Maybe you have a hunting camp set up, you got a little cabin or something and you want to keep it warm, well, you can run one of these. So that's kind of the idea. Okay, what you get with this thing, you get some probably horrible instructions. And they have two models. This is the 8 kilowatt, and I think this is the 5. This one has a bigger tank. Now, friends, I already think this tank's going to be too small. You can buy bigger tanks for these heaters online for like 10 or 15 bucks. But anyways, there's a bunch of safety instructions. Gives you a full breakdown. That's what's inside there. And we'll see how this thing works. I'm not really too concerned. Here, so what you have here is an air intake from outside and an air exhaust from outside. Hose with 2 connections and your power supply. So all I'm going to say, friends, I noticed online a lot of people saying, so I figured I would add this. If you set these up on the ground, there's not enough clearance and you'll burn whatever it's sitting on. So a lot of people were saying, you guys can see here probably, here I'll show you guys what's underneath this. Okay, intake and exhaust. Okay, and what people are saying is if you set it up, you got to bend this exhaust around here. Now, I'm sure hoping the exhaust is not the one next to the fuel pipe, but because this is from a certain place, you guys know where, I would assume that this, well, I hope not. Anyways, friends, people were saying to set these up on 2 blocks of wood. So I went and cut 2 9 3/4 inch blocks of 2x6, and I'm going to set this thing up to give it a little more height. And I did check out online. There's lots of reviews on these, friends. This is not meant to be a, you know, one of those kinds of things, a full setup and review of the machine. This is just my thoughts on it. Maybe this will help some of you guys out. Okay, I'm going to get the base set up and I'll jump in and out a little bit. So I didn't read the instructions, but if you guys want to, they're not bad. There's lots of pictures and diagram-like thingies in there. Here's what I came up with. Exhaust is the side without the hose for the fuel running to it. Thank gosh. I was a little worried there for a second. Air intake and the exhaust. Now again, I'm not mounting it like this. I don't suggest you do that. Mount this thing as safely as possible because, well, it's your shop you're going to burn down if you don't do it properly. But you guys get the idea. I put a longer screw in here. It comes with these P-clamps. Nice, you know, decent quality P-clamps. Now, I just rigged this up in such a way that it's not touching the unit. And hopefully it doesn't get too hot running there, but if a fella really wanted to get fancy, and I'll probably do this because, well, it's my shop, longer P-clamps or a bracket, but you guys get the idea. Then I'm just going to bend this down. Here's the muffler. You guys can see it right there. I'm just going to aim this towards the shop window and leave it like that. Now, I heard online, or I read online, that these exhausts are too short, and I agree with that. If you're going to buy one of these, buy the extra exhaust tubing kit. Also available online. There's millions of brands of these. They're super common now, and I think this is a great idea. As long as my worry about stuff like this, friends, is where it comes from and whether it's going to be tested or not, whether it's safe. I don't recommend using this unattended. Make sure your fuel source is in a safe place, etc. If you're, you know, I mean, the tank is inside here, but I mean, just be careful, friends. Okay, and now there's a power source that you hook up to the back. So I'm going to put this thing on the shelf. I'm going to put some fuel in it, aim it out the window that's there, and let's just fire this thing up and see what it's going to do. Okay, I filled this thing right up with diesel. I don't like this spot. It's just, like I said, I ran it out the window so that we don't have issues. Not a big fan of where this cord sits for right now, but again, I just want to try this. I don't want to start drilling holes in my shop for something that's not going to work. Interesting. I don't understand how any of this works. It's in Celsius. Okay, so if you hold the up button, it goes from Celsius to Fahrenheit. I don't hear it doing anything yet. Like, I'd like to have it at about 10 degrees. Where's my key? On. Manual, auto. I don't know what any of these things do. Of course, I didn't read the instructions because I'm a dude. Let's go to auto. I don't hear this thing trying to start yet, so I'm not sure what it's going to do, if it's going to do anything, but... Oh, there we go. So, this thing kind of clicked and made noises, and then it did nothing, and then I started to notice smoke coming out of the pipe there, and then I could smell diesel, and well, it feels like it's running now. Now I have a feeling this thing will just get hotter and hotter and hotter as it runs. It's got to heat up this air exchanger here, but seems to be doing its thing. Again, don't set yours up like mine. Oh yeah. Okay. And you know what? It's actually not very loud. I was hoping it wasn't going to be super loud when it's running. And it's really not. It blows a decent amount of air. Most of what you hear is the air intake. You hear? Now, I probably don't want to mount that outside because if I'm heating freezing cold air, that's just gonna make this thing work even harder. Oh, I can smell it, friends. It's starting to stink. That's a good sign. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna let this thing run for 15 minutes and just kind of give you guys my impression of it. Okay, friends, I've run this thing for about 30 minutes now, 25 minutes, and I turned it off just to see what it'll do, and I just turned it back on. It has not restarted yet. It's blowing warm air, but not hot air. I'm not 100% sure what it's doing. So there's definitely a learning curve with this thing, friends. So I think what happens when you turn it off, it does a cool down procedure and then it will restart. So it's doing its thing. Now, this is 14 degrees Celsius. I'm in the HVAC industry. That would mean we went from 8 degrees to 14 in 30 minutes. That's 6 degrees temperature rise. Guaranteed this thermostat is getting some heat from here. So I wouldn't say we got 6 degrees, but it's definitely warmer in here. And again, this thing's like a jet engine. It's slowly ramping up, and here we go. I can start to feel the heat again. So this is not a unit you're going to turn on and off. Once you get it going, leave it going. It seems to be the deal. I will say though, friends, the amount of air it blows and the quality of heat it makes, I'm very impressed with. I don't know if you can see that. It's blowing this piece of paper away pretty nicely. So it definitely moves air, and I'm gonna mount this in my shop for sure. There we go. So you see, friends, it takes a minute or two to get going. And probably from cold start to fully running is probably 3 or 4 minutes. So I was hoping it'd be faster than that, but the nice thing is about this, friends, is I can fire this up in the morning. In lieu of making a fire, I could fire this up in the morning on a Saturday night or Saturday morning and get it cranked and just leave it running. And I should be able to walk away and just leave this thing. You know, checking on it every once in a while. But what I can see so far is it's a self-contained unit, and it seems pretty robust. So, and there you go, friends. Smoking hot heat. One thing I like about this, when you turn it up, the fan turns up, but the heat doesn't decrease. It's almost burning my fingers right now, friends. That's how much heat comes out of this thing. And if you turn it down, okay, I'll turn it all the way down. Whoa, what did I do there? Oh no, I did something, friends. I'm gonna have to read the instructions. Okay, it's 14 in here. I'll turn it down to 8. 8 is the lowest setting. And it tones it right down. But again, blowing massive amounts of heat out of here still. So that's the only thing I was hoping. I was hoping that this machine would turn on and off under its own power, that I didn't have to monitor it. But 30 minutes in, I've used like this much fuel. It holds 5 liters. 5 liters is a gallon and whatever, we'll call it 1.25 gallons, friends, for my American friends. So there you guys go. I'm happy with this. It's pretty quiet. It moves a lot of air, and I can point it towards my workbench 10 feet away, and I can feel the hot air blowing on me. Okay, friends, well, I'm going to leave that thing running. First off, the quality seems good. It works fine. This remote's kind of hokey, so don't buy it for the remote. You'll be sorely let down. It's fairly quiet, and it belts the heat out. The exhaust system's kind of hokey. Be careful with that. Make sure you route it away from things. It gets hot. Like, you can burn paper on it. So be careful. I think I'm gonna order an extra long exhaust pipe kit and run it properly, make a flange. And I'm a sheet metal worker, so I'll probably make a tube to insulate it and run it through there and make 2 plates. It comes with this plate right here. I'll probably make something similar to that for the inside. But other than that, friends, for the money, it works well. It's quiet, and it certainly belts the heat out. The drawback, it runs on diesel. Depending on where you're at in the world, diesel's pretty expensive. Diesel is more expensive than gasoline where I live. But here's the thing, friends. I had an unfortunate circumstance this year. I have a 45-gallon slip tank in my F-250, and I found a good deal on diesel. So I filled it right up. And I wanted to fill my mower. So my slip tank doesn't vent through the cap, so you take the cap off when you're filling, and that makes it vent. Well, I put a splash of fuel in my mower, and I had the cap off. And what happened was, right after I filled up my mower, it started pouring rain, like a heavy, heavy rain. And I ran into the shop, not thinking anything of it. Well, what did I do, friends? I left the cap off. And I ended up with water in my fuel. And I tried draining the bottom a little bit, got some water out of there. I put some more in my mower, and my mower ran good for about 5 minutes, and then I started having lots of issues with it. Low on fuel, sputtering, white smoke, all the signs of having water in there. And that proceeded to last for about 2 weeks, friends. I had to put 2 sets of fuel filters on my mower. And so I thought, well, I got this full slip tank. I'm not putting it in my truck or my skid steer. What do I do with it? So I pumped a bunch of it into various 5-gallon jerry cans that I have. I have 3 or 4 in the shop right now, and I still have about half a slip tank left. So what I'm going to do is, friends, I'm going to grab every jerry can that I have, and I'm going to pump that thing empty, dump the rest into a jerry can, and I'll heat my shop for a lot of this winter on that waste diesel oil, hopefully. The nice thing is, if I leave that stuff out in my shop, the water that's in that diesel will freeze like an icicle, and I can pour the diesel out of that can into this tank. So, anyways, friends, for me, it was a no-brainer. It was throw out $300 worth of diesel fuel or buy a $150 heater and have heat in my shop and try and use the diesel I have. So, that's what works for me. Anyhow, friends, I'm really happy I bought this, and at this point, I'm happy with it. I will definitely check in as the year goes on, and I'm going to do a proper installation on that thing, and I'll let you guys know what I think. But at this point, I could see many uses for that heater. Like a broken down piece of equipment, I could hook that up to a battery and run it while I'm working on it outside in the winter. Or maybe my skid steer doesn't want to start. Well, I could run a hose from that exhaust port to the motor bay on my skid steer, heat it up and get it running. So for me, it's a no-brainer, and I think it's the perfect heater to have around a farm. Anyhow, friends, thanks for watching. Take her easy, and I'll see you guys in several days once I get my shop squared away. I got to deal with that section over there, but I'm 80-70% done. This will be the new backdrop. I moved everything back. I'll give you guys a full tour when it's done, when I have everything put away. Thanks for watching. Take her easy. Later.